All right, welcome everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Grace Roots monthly Be Strong talk for the month of December 2020. And we're wrapping up this year with another great Be Strong talk with Ben Tayson this evening. And just as a quick introduction to what we're doing and to where you can see our other Be Strong talk recordings. You can check us out on Facebook. Just search Grace Roots Pathways to Wellness, or you can go to YouTube and search Grace Roots Be Strong Talks, and you can see some of our past recordings. But tonight, Ben Tayson is here as our special guest for this month's talk to tell us about his story and what he does to be strong. So Ben, without further ado, I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
All right, thanks, Jay. And thanks for the Be Strong Foundation and Grace Roots. They're doing work in the community to try to combat the opioid crisis that's plagued our community. So my name is Ben. I'm an addict, and I'm also a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I don't have to use no matter what. What that means to me is I can be a brother, a son, a fiance, a friend. I'm allowed to be those things today because I'm not in the grips of my active addiction. The theme is be strong, and I'll get to what I do so that I can be strong on a day-to-day basis. But I'll start with a little bit of background. I grew up in Northern California, in the Bay Area. My mom and dad are actually both here listening right now, which is a little nerve-wracking. I don't know that I've ever spoken in front of my mom. So they divorced when I was young. I lived in between the two houses with my older brother. My dad remarried. My mom's here as well, Laura, and my mom remarried, and they both had two new sets of kids when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So I got 4 younger siblings as well. And I was kind of the middle child. And it wasn't that my family or my parents weren't attentive to me or didn't get my needs met. I was kind of a high-strung kid with lots of needs and needed lots of attention, especially being the middle child. You know, I needed more, you know. Everything had to be fair. It had to be equal. I was taking tabs. I was poor me, poor Benny. I needed this. I needed that. And although it wasn't real, like I wasn't really lost. They knew where I was at, and they were very attentive to everything that I had going on in my life. I felt like the lost child. I felt like I hadn't found footing. I felt like I hadn't really found my spot or my place within my family or within society, because I was also getting in a lot of trouble 12, 13, 14 years old. My addict behaviors and tendencies had started really young, whether it was sneaking out at night, smoking cigarettes, stealing, getting the cops called, you know, my parents getting 3 a.m. phone calls from the police saying that, you know, me or my brothers are at the police station. And those were the addict tendencies that started really young. So I got into more trouble. 13, 14, 15 were some really rough years. Not for me, but for my family and everything I put them through. I was in and out of juvenile hall. I remember the first time that I was arrested, my little brother and sister were on the front porch asking why the cops were taking me away. And that was a hard moment for me. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I look back and I got older and I got clean, I realized what kind of damage that could have done to them and what kind of example I was setting. And so it gets better. So we'll fast forward a little later. But so 15 years old, I moved to Oregon. I had been in and out of juvenile hall so many times and was facing some pretty serious charges, stolen cars and police chases, stuff like that, just normal stuff. My dad had recommended that I move to Oregon to live with my grandma and grandpa, who were heavily involved in Eagle Point. In the community, My grandpa was a football coach and a longtime teacher there in Eagle Point. And so I moved up here to be with them and try to get a new start with a new environment, try to find new friends. Everything was going well for about the first 6 months until I found more addicts that like to drink and party and those kind of kids in the school. So, I started partying again. And eventually I dropped out of high school, moved back to California for another year of just pure debauchery, just drinking and using and running amok. So by the time I was 20, I had some pretty strong drinking habits. And so anyway, so I moved back to Oregon at 21, met a girl, drank a lot, ended up in and out of jail up in Hillsborough in Washington County. Moved back down to Southern Oregon at 22, found myself trying opiates for the first time, pain pills, quickly escalated to heroin, and I spent the next 8 years addicted to heroin. And every time I did more, it always escalated. It was never enough. Eventually, I couldn't hold a job. My family wanted nothing to do with me. They wanted nothing to do with the addict. That every time that I came over, it was like the Tasmanian devil just ran through the house. Like I'd come in, I'd start a bunch of crap, and and then boom, I was out, and they'd just be left standing there wondering what the heck are we doing? What the heck what can we do? The pain that I put my family through, I can never give that time back. The only thing I can do now is continue to recover and do the next right thing. So that was about 27 or 28 is when I had got arrested for stealing from my grandma to feed my addiction. My dad was strong enough to pull the trigger and call the police and have me arrested. And he told me, I'll remember this day every day for the rest of my life. When he told me never to talk to him again. When he told me to never come around my grandma again until I got my act together. And I remember that because that pain and that suffering wasn't just me. I couldn't feel it because I was high. I didn't feel that pain. I didn't have to feel that pain. He had to feel that pain. My grandma had to feel that pain. My stepmom, my mom, my family, my loved ones, they had to feel that pain of telling me to never talk to them again, not knowing if they would ever get to talk to me again. They had to make that choice, and I'll always forget that. I don't ever want to put them through that again. So luckily, he did make that decision, and I went to jail, and I opted into drug court, which was the day I was trying to think of like my timeline of where things have progressed and where my life has gone and how I ended up here where I'm at. And I think the day I got into drug court was the day that my life changed. It was the day that I now had accountability, and I had a team of people that were there to help teach me a new way of life. It introduced me to other people in recovery. I had a mentor, Titan Marvel. He was my mentor at the time. He spent a lot of time with me and helped me out. And there were times in drug court where things weren't easy, and I had relapsed, and Titan had came and picked me up to hang out and go play softball and try to get me involved with things, but I was loaded and I was throwing up in the outfield, and it was a mess, Then I get arrested for that because I'm in drug court, so I end up back in jail on a sanction and in rehab, and it was a mess, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but he never turned his back on me. Those were one of the first moments of what I realized recovery was. When I realized that another addict who had been in the same spot that I'm in had been there. He'd done that. And he didn't want anything from me. He wanted nothing from me. He's just like, what can I do to help? You want to kick it? You want to go do something? Do you want to go to a meeting? He drove all the way to Salem and picked me up from treatment with my friend Adam and my other friend Sam. And I'll never forget those moments either. Like that meant a lot to me, you know. That's not around the block. Like, hey, come pick me up from around the block. Like they drove all the way to Salem and picked me up and drove me back and fed me and got me my first sugar that I had in months, you know. I mean, a nice big Red Bull and got us all hopped up on energy drinks and had fun. And I was realizing that in those moments that I was having fun in recovery and that things were changing and that I was changing and my circle was changing. And I'm surrounding myself with people that encouraged me to do the next right thing, but they also knew how to have fun. And they were addicts just like me. You know, there was no judgment ever passed. Well, there probably was some judgment. I mean, we judge each other, so it's fine. But for the most part, there was no judgment passed. They understood where I was coming from, and they just wanted me to continue to do what was best. So those were the early moments in my recovery that made me feel hope, you know. That's all I wanted was some hope. Just hope that I wasn't going to hurt my family again. I just wanted hope that I could do something different. I was 28 years old. I was getting a little bit, you know, what the heck am I doing with my life, you know? So I started getting a little bit of hope. But I skipped over an important part too, though. I spent some time in the mission when I'd first right after I'd gotten arrested, that first arrest. And after about 3 months of being in the mission, or 2.5 or 3 months, well, the first thing I did is I didn't call my parents to apologize for anything. I knew that wasn't going to fly this time. My dad said never talk to him again. I knew it wasn't going to fly. Sorry wasn't going to count this time. So what I did after being there for about a week is I just called him and let him know where I was, and I didn't say anything else. I just said, I'm at the mission and we'll talk soon, because I knew nothing else was going to matter. So I did that, and eventually a couple weeks later, he said, hey, son, do you want to come over for dinner? I went to dinner. Hey, son, do you want to come over for our home group and read the Bible and hang out? And I said, okay, I'll do that. And that's where I started gaining the trust back little by little of my family. And the more that I got my family back and new friends, the hope was growing. The hope within me was growing and growing and growing. I was able, while in drug court, they kept me involved, and they, you know, asked me if I wanted to coach the drug court softball team, which was actually Titan was doing it at the time when I first came into drug court, and he handed it down to me, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And I felt a part of, probably fed my ego a little bit. It was just fun to do. It was fun to play. It was fun to hang out with everybody. I built some real bonds doing that stuff. And I had a group of guys that I hung out with while I was in drug court, and they're all great guys. They're all great guys, but eventually I had to figure out what I was going to do. I don't think we all wanted the same thing. We all wanted recovery, but we didn't want to all do the work. And I needed to surround myself with people that were serious about what they were doing, that wanted something different in their life, because that's what I wanted. So I found that group, and now it's a family. I've been hanging out with these guys and girls for the last 4 years, and they're family. We hang out with each other. They go over to my parents' house for my graduation. I graduated college. They go over to my parents' house and eat with them. We go to their parents' house and eat with them. We celebrate occasions together, whether it be graduations, births of babies, marriages, buying homes, getting their license backs. Like all these things I get to share with not only my family, but my recovery family that I have now. And that's, to me, that's what's special. That's what keeps me coming back. That's what, I have a sense of belonging now. I don't feel like the lost child anymore. I don't feel like, I don't have those feelings of, how do I explain it? I'm missing the word, but I don't feel like the lost child anymore. I feel like I have a sense of belonging within my family, my community. I worked the steps, and I was able to make amends to the family members that I hurt in the process of working the steps. And that was very, very freeing. One of the biggest amends that I got to make was to my mom, because there was always, we were both, she took me to my first meeting. Mom, I hope you don't care if I share this, but I am. she took me to my first meeting when I was 13, and we went around the room and everybody was saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm an addict, and I'm so-and-so, and I'm an addict. And it came to me, and I said, I'm Ben, and I don't know if I'm an addict. Because I didn't know. I was young, but the reason why I said I don't know instead of just letting it pass me is because part of me already knew that I had that in me, that I had that little bit of addict in me. So anyways, fast forward, my mom and I's relationship got kind of strained. It's probably hard for a mother of an addict who's 500 miles away to wonder what your son's doing or if he's going to die and not be able to help him. So in the process of working the steps, I was able to free myself of that resentment and realize that my mom loves me with all her heart, and the actions and decisions that I made put the strain on our relationship. That it wasn't anybody else's fault. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't my parents' fault. It was my shit. Excuse my language. It was me. I made these decisions, and I had to own up to them now. And I made an amends to my mom, and I told her I loved her, and we had a good talk. And, you know, we see each other when we can because she's down in Northern California, but we talked today, and that's important to me. That means a lot to me that she's here tonight. And, you know, we had plans for her to come up for Christmas, but she can't make it because of COVID. And in the past, I probably would have been mad about it. I might have even used about it, but I don't have to do that anymore. I have empathy. I understand. I'm not selfish. Well, okay, sometimes I'm selfish, but I'm not going to be selfish in this moment because that's just life. Like, it's not that she doesn't want to be here. It's life. Life's kind of messy right now. I'm on a Zoom meeting right now, sharing my experience, strength, and hope. I didn't think that would be happening. Here we are, 2020. Woo! But it's also a blessing because look, my mom's here, my dad's here, my sister's here, my fiance is right next to me. All my friends and family in the community are here. My little brother's here. So what I do to be strong is I surround myself with people who want to build me up, who want to help me be the best version of myself, and who will call me on my stuff. They'll pick on me a little bit too. You know who I'm talking to too. Anyways, they pick on me, but they love me, you know. I surround myself with my family, my fiance. I surround myself with people who are in recovery and who live recovery. There's no room for half-stepping. I'm not strong enough on my own to half-step. In order to be strong, I have to surround myself with people who are going to help me be strong. I can't be strong on my own. I've tried it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. If somebody can work their own program and be clean and sober and do it on their own, then I applaud you, but I can't. I can't do it on my own. I don't go to bars. I don't go to the weed shops. I don't go to nightclubs. I don't hang out with people who are drinking unless I have some accountability buddy there, whether it be my fiance who's also in recovery or friends. You know, there's occasions where you're in society, you're at an event, you're at some sort of event where there's alcohol there or something, and that's fine. But I'm not going there alone. I'm going to take my people with me so that I can be strong. So I do work a program in a 12-step program. I've worked 12 steps once all the way through. I've worked a few other steps multiple times because I kept stumbling and then I start over, and those things have helped me be strong. I've learned a lot about myself through that journey of self-exploration. That's really one of the keys, other than the people around me, is that I worked on myself. Because the last time that I used and ended up in jail and rehab, I made a vow to myself, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. How do I get to a point where I don't have to do this again? Because the irony of it is that exactly 1 year from the day I was arrested, I think it was January 13th, 2016, was my arrest that my dad called the cops on me. January 13th, 2017, I was in jail a year later. And at that point, and this was after being in drug court for a year. I was in drug court for a year. But ironically, a year later, I was back in jail. So obviously, I thought to myself, what the heck am I doing? I'm obviously not doing something right. I'm back in jail exactly a year later. What am I doing? And I told myself I was going to find out why am I using? What am I using over? How do I avoid this? You know, and the truth of the matter was that I can't avoid the feelings. I have to figure out what they are and work through them. Avoiding your feelings is the same thing we do when we're getting loaded. So if we're clean and we're still avoiding our feelings, then what are we really doing? The same thing we were doing when we were dope fiend. That's what my sponsor taught me. That's what he taught me. I can't run from my feelings anymore. So that's part of my journey of being strong is I worked on myself, surrounded myself with new people, places, and things. I continue to be a part of recovery. I'm not as involved as I used to be. I could blame a lot of things right now. You know, it's 2020. I got a lot of excuses, but really it just comes down to me. Life's gotten different. It's not gotten worse. It's gotten a lot better. And I like hanging out at home. I have my beautiful fiance here. I got a nice place. I've gotten a lot of things. Recovery's been good to me. You know, I gave back to recovery, and now recovery's giving back to me. When I graduated drug court, I was part of the mentor program. And because I was part of that mentor program, they trained me to be a certified recovery mentor. And now I work in the field as a certified recovery mentor. You know, I volunteered for over a year as a mentor just to give back, just to help other people. And now I do it for a living, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes I don't work enough on myself, and that's my journey. You know, I can't be so hard on myself. I got to keep moving forward. So been about 25 minutes. I have plenty more experience I could share, but what I can really say is that if you're new or you're newer and you're just learning about recovery, you just have to stick around. That's it. That's all you need to worry about right now. All the rest of the stuff will happen. Like, I can't explain to you how quickly my life has changed or when it just skyrocketed and took off towards the stars. Like, I can't even begin to tell you about that. We'll need another couple hours. But if you stick around in recovery, your life will change. I will guarantee you that. Doesn't matter if you mess up, you fall down, you get up, you know, whatever you do, you just stick around. Everything else will work itself out. You stick around, you do the next right thing, it'll work out. If you stick around and do the next wrong thing, that's okay too, because I've done that too. I've done the next wrong thing a few times. Somehow I just stuck around, you know. It's just here I am. So I love you all. Thank you, Grace Roots, for allowing me to speak. I'm happy to be here. I'm blessed. Thank you. I'm Ben. I'm Nag. Thanks.
Well, thanks again, Ben, for sharing your story. We have quite a few people on the line this evening as part of this Zoom meeting. So I'll just open it up for any questions or comments. Go ahead and unmute just feel free to unmute yourself and fire a question or comment away, and just take turns, because we have quite a few people on the line. So go ahead, and who's got the first question or comment?
I'm gonna start calling on people.
I'll go.
Oh, anybody but this guy. Do I have access to the mute button?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ben, first and foremost, I'll apologize now, but I am real. I'm very fucking proud of you.
Thanks.
You know, as well as quite a few people, it is a very tough road. You know, it's a huge blessing what you were versus what you are, you know. And I know we've done a lot of work together. And I'm very proud of you, bro. And I know you're going to do the next right thing. My big question for you is, you mentioned life stuff happens. how do you deal, and not how should people deal, how do you deal with life stuff? Because 6 feet under or 6 feet above, life still goes on. How do you personally deal with stuff?
I deal with it a lot of different ways. Some healthy, some unhealthy. You know, sometimes I deal with life on life's terms by getting angry and throwing a big baby fit. I could probably word it a little differently, but that's really what it is. It's a grown man baby fit that I throw sometimes. And that's not the healthiest of ways, but I learned from those experiences, and I just want to get a little bit better each time, you know. I really want to stop all the unhealthy behaviors and character defects. I wish I could just stop it, you know, but I just have to work on it a little bit each time. Life on life's terms, like here's an example. I get a text 2 days ago, a reminder from Siskiyou Community Health that says I have a dentist appointment today at 3:30. And I'm like, oh crap, you know, I thought maybe it was something small. No, they numbed half my face, and they've been clawing and 2-hour session they did. My face is still numb. And that's just life on life's terms. I deal with it head on today. And here I am, and I'm still here for my commitment. And so some days I deal with things, life on life's term, really in a healthy way. And sometimes I just hide and avoid. Just like I was talking about, you know, avoiding your feelings when you're in recovery is the same thing as avoiding them when you're in your addiction. Sometimes you just got to deal with them and move on, head forward, just straight into them, push into them. Can't really avoid them sometimes. So I don't know if I answer your question, but some days I deal with life on life's terms in good ways, and sometimes I deal with it poorly. And I'm okay with that, because the next day I'm gonna wake up and I'm still gonna be clean, and I'm gonna try again. So thanks, Titan. 8/19/14. Swag's over.
Hi, I have a question. I was just wondering if there's a point in your addiction, like a clear point where you realize that you have a problem, or if it's you totally hit rock bottom before you realized it. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, the thing about rock bottoms, I'll just say this really quickly. The thing about rock bottoms is when you think you hit rock bottom, there's always a trap door. There's always lower. You think you've gone as low as you possibly go. And there's a list of things that you tell yourself, I will never do A, B, C, and D. And you always end up doing A, B, C, and D. So, but there was a point in my recovery or in my addiction where I realized I was in big trouble. I had 2 jobs at the time, and I was living with my grandmother in Medford, and I was spending every dime I had on pills and heroin. And then I lost a job, and I had to lie about losing that job. And all the lies caught up to me. It was all just like, I didn't even know how to keep track of my own lies. So my dad and my stepmom come over to my grandma's house unannounced. And they're like, hey, we went by your job that you supposedly had, and you weren't there. What the heck's going on? I knew I was in trouble. Not in trouble with them, but I mean, I knew I was in trouble with my life. I was freaking deep, you know. I was so deep that I didn't even know where to begin. I was like, man. So I laid it all out to him right then and there. And that was a tough day. That was a tough day for them. That was a tough day for my grandma. Tough day for me. To sit there and look at your parents who just want answers. They just want to know what's going on. Because it was crazy. There's all this craziness going on. What is going on? That's all I wanted to know. And at that moment, I knew I was like, I'm in some serious crap right now. You know, I don't know how to get out of it. And I laid it all out there, and we all cried, and we came up with a game plan. And unfortunately, that wasn't my rock bottom. There was a lot of yets that I hadn't done, you know. I hadn't done a lot of stuff yet. And so that was about 3 or 4 years before I ended up stopping. So there was still a long ways to go at that point. But, you know, here we are today, and family's still here, and I'm blessed that they are, because I put them through a lot. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hey, Ben, first of all, thank you. Appreciate you coming out and being so real. I think that's what really helps us all. One of the things that you said that really resonates with me about being strong is, I say it another way, but I think it's the same thing, and that's just showing up. You know, a lot of times I think what happens is all of us, whether we're battling addictions or other things, we sit there and we think about the next day or the problem in front of us, and we're just like, I just ain't going to be there. But I found that if you just show up, you know, and you show up and you try to make the right choices as best you can, things tend to work out. And you have a fantastic support system. And a lot of times I don't think people realize, if you've got like the things that you've been through, and the things that have made you strong, you don't know who you're touching tonight in terms of what they might be going through, might be giving them some motivation, you know. So again, thank you very much. But like I said, just showing up and being real, I think is a very important point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Any family members got any questions?
My name's Chris. I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Yeah, that's my little brother.
What's up? I had to pull off to the side of the road. I didn't have any service. I was in the middle of an outpatient program. I caught most of the story. I feel like I, got the nuts and bolts of it. Great share. I'm so glad that I got to tune into that. I hope I get to tune into another one. And yeah, it's an honor to be able to sit here and watch you become the man you are today. It's inspirational because, yeah, there's part of me at one point was like, I don't know if he's ever gonna get it right. I'm not sure if I'm the only one. I don't think I am, but I think that we all looked at Ben as the one that was like, he's probably never gonna get married. He's probably never gonna get it right. He's probably never gonna get a spot right. And out of all my brothers and sisters, he's the one who's engaged. He's got years of recovery. He's doing the damn thing. He just graduated college. You know what I'm saying? And what that showed me and what that taught me was that it's never too late. You can get it right, and it's not how many times you fall down, but it's about how many times you decide to get back up. And just powerful message. I have a question for you. Was it doing time in being in and out of jail that really changed it, or was it that moment where your dad and your grandma, that incident, that really did the 180, or was it the relation? Like, what was it like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
First off, over here crying. Kyla's over here crying. I'm about to start crying because look, I've been talking about you for a long time. I know your struggles, and I take a lot of that on. The influence that I was when we were growing up. And the only thing I can do, and this is what everybody's always told me, is the only thing I can do is lead by example. So, Chris, I want you to tell everybody how many days clean and sober you got right now.
I have 57 days clean and sober today.
That's a miracle. Miracle. It's funny that you say people wonder if I was ever going to make it, because I swear I've thought the same thing about somebody before too, you know what I'm saying? But no, so to answer your question, when that moment did two things. One, it cut off my enablers. When my parents told me they didn't want to talk to me, my grandma was forced by the courts because I had no contact with her. So it cut me off from them. So I didn't have anybody to enable me anymore. But it also really was like that moment that I didn't catch her name, but she asked that rock bottom, that was it. Because we'd already gone through the one time before when I told them that I was using, made that discovery that I was doing heroin. And then that moment when my dad, like, I knew it in his eyes, I knew it in his face. I was crushing my family. It was, that wasn't the only moment. There was, if anybody that's had an addict in their family, or you are the addict and you've had a moment to clean up and kind of rethink what you're doing with your life, you realize what you've done to your family. And there's so many moments like that. And it's, and I can say that I've done enough work on myself to where I try not to be too hard on myself about it, but Chris is another example, you know, where I could have been better to him. You know, he makes his own decisions. Hey, his decisions are his decisions. But I'm saying I could have been better as a role model. You know, that's why when I led this, the speech today, what I led with was that I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I get to be a brother today. I get to be a son, a fiance. I get to be those things today because I never was before. So, good question. 57 days. Yourself a round of applause. Love you.
Thank you. It's been hard, man. You know, just taking it one day at a time. So
Keep grinding that drug court. Keep grinding drug court.
Yep. It's drug court saved me, man. Drug court and yeah, that's what saved me. The time hanging over my head. So
Love you, man.
love you too.
Ben,
Yeah, that's me. Hi.
honey, it's Glenda.
Glenda.
Yeah, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you. I can't even imagine you any other way than you are today. You're so incredible. And it is such a pleasure to work with you and to know you and to be a part of your life today. I can't even imagine anything else. That's all.
Glenda, you're the best. I appreciate you. Nothing but love for you.
Same here, honey. Same here. I love you and I'm so proud of you. And I can't imagine adapt without you.
I'm going to
You're just
piggyback on
a
that
part of
too.
us and family. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
I love
All
you
right.
too.
Well,
and
I'm going to get off of here, but I just wanted to tell you that I love you and how much respect I have for you. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Love you too, Glenda. I appreciate
All
it.
right, honey.
You too.
All right, so Ben, it's your dad.
Hi,
You
Dad.
didn't recognize my voice. I've told you before that you're a great presenter, and this testimony will not only help addicts who want to recover, but the parents of those addicts and the siblings. So, you know, if there's ever a way for this stuff to go viral or you to be a traveling speaker, I think it'd be awesome. There's the second point is, I don't have a question, I'm just giving you a couple points. There's friends that say they're friends, and there's friends. And your friends, I've heard the stories from Titan and James and Sam and those are friends, and they're hard to come by. And you should be really happy to have these guys.
We love you, Ben. So proud of you. And you too, Christopher.
Way to go, Christopher.
Thank you, guys. Love you guys. They deserve applause too. I mean, it's hard to imagine, you know? It's hard to, when someone comes into recovery, I have to remind myself where I was when I first came in. You try to keep the basics with them, you know? Just keep coming. You start there. Just keep coming. But I want to give them everything. Like when I hear somebody that has family problems or they got sibling problems or they got all these problems, I want to give it all to them at once, you know? Because I've had so much experience with a lot of wreckage, but I've also had experience in how to gain those things back. A big majority of it obviously has nothing to do with me. It's just my family being willing to forgive and my higher power being willing to give me another shot. But I don't know how to explain it. there's hope. That's all there is. There is hope that you can live a different life. And I think back to how I got here, but I also think that, man, I've needed a lot of help. Like lots of help. I feel like a bunch of these people were my counselor at one point. Where are they at? Lori was my makeshift counselor. She was the front desk lady who heard my crap every time I walked in. Stupid drug court, stupid this, stupid that. And she would just laugh and say, okay, you can go back now.
I feel like I got to watch you grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Part of it too, though, you know?
it's been
Everybody's-
a privilege, Ben. It totally has. It's like I watched you become a man, you know, and it's been really awesome. So if you had one thing to tell someone coming in recovery, what do you think the most important thing is?
I mean, hope.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it. It's just, there is hope.
Yeah.
But even that, but then I second guess that because I'm like, when I first came into recovery, some dude said he loved me and that there's hope. I was like, get the F out of here, you know? Like, get out of my face. I don't even know you. You're telling me you love me and that there's hope. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I've been, you know, shooting needles for the last few years and my parents don't want nothing to do with me and I don't have no friends or family and you're telling me there's hope? Like, but that's true. That's what I want to tell people when they first come in, that there is hope. As stupid as they might think it sounds, you tell them that there's hope and then you show them that there's hope, you know? That's one thing I would say is just that there's hope. Just stick around.
Nice.
Hey, Ben,
Yes, sir. Titan Marvel, Swag Sober 8, 1914.
I'm going to double dip.
Please do.
You talked about going to a Bible study with your dad, and then you just talked about higher power.
Mhm.
For Chris and for others, and some just like me, because I struggle with the higher power thing. Can you elaborate on the difference in religion, spirituality, and a higher power, and how important that is and or may not be in recovery and in your life?
Okay. I'm glad you asked that because we've had this conversation a few times.
I know we have.
We have. So to me, what I've been taught is spirituality is like your spirit, you know, like you can be spirit without being spiritual, without being religious. Being spiritual means that, like, I've had these conversations with my sponsor too, like, because that's what I strive for. That's what it's about. It's a spiritual, non-religious program is what my 12-step program is. To be spiritual means to be centered enough that if somebody talks smack to you or you crash your car on the way to work or you bump your head on the door on the way out, to be able to just, hey, it's cool. To me, that's being centered. Being grounded and centered is being spiritual. If you're religious, that means you have a denomination or a sect that you believe in. For me, you know, Christianity, believing in God, that's being religious. But then a higher power is an even different thing. A higher power could be, I'm thinking power greater than myself. So higher power is any of those things, you know, whether it be God or Buddha, Allah, a goddess and a god, whatever it is, nature, that's your higher power. But then a power greater than yourself is this Zoom meeting right here that brought together my family and myself and all of you people to listen to me share my stuff. That's a power greater than myself. That's not my higher power, but it's a power that's way greater than me. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. He's not nodding, so.
Made sense to me.
Don't look for reassurance, Ben.
Oh, God. Don't bill me for this hour, Titan. You're about to start getting me on.
Hey, Ben, it's Janae.
Hi.
I'm on Kipper's Zoom. I just want to tell you how proud I am of you. And you know, when you just got asked that question, what you would tell an addict that's new coming into recovery, that there's hope. I specifically remember a few times in the beginning of my journey when we lived next door to each other at the on-track apartments where you told me that I wasn't alone, you know, and that I was able to reach out to other, you know, women in the program and, you know, you and Kyla just being there for me when, you know what I mean, I couldn't make a decision for myself, or I couldn't take that next step that seemed like it was, you know, the biggest step in the world. But, you know, you guys both have been there for me and helped me to do that. And, you know, reminded me that I wasn't alone in the beginning. And, you know, I'm super grateful for drug court. Drug court has, you know, he saved a lot of us, and we do have this tight knit family and connection with all these people around us. And it's an amazing program. And you are definitely one of the people that helped me in my journey immensely, and in a few different ways that I specifically remember. So I just want to tell you thank you for that.
Thanks, Janae. I'm glad that you and Kyler are besties now.
Woo!
Even though sometimes I'm a little irritated when you come storming through the door. And her and Kyler are going crazy together. And I'm like, okay, well.
Gotta love it.
Hey, there she is.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Janae. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're one of the people, though, that you show people something, too. Like, when you first came in and where you're at now, you show the people that have been around a while that it is still working. You know? When someone comes and they
cool.
do the work and they continue to do the work and life changes, that's the proof that Lori needs to see, and the people that have been around for a while, they need to see that it's still working so that they don't lose hope. Because you're giving hope to the people that have been around for a while too.
Absolutely.
You know? You got a question? Okay. This would have been the time, but okay.
I guess I'll double dip. I just want to say again how proud I am of you, man. Like, I'm over In-N-Out, and every time, I don't know what it is, and no matter how long it's been, every time I pull up to In-N-Out, I always think of you and how you'd always come back from Oregon or come back from trip or doing your time or whatever, and it was like first stop was getting your In-N-Out. So yeah. I'm hungry. I just got done with my program, so I was just thinking about you. I don't know if they have one out there.
Yeah, we got two now. We got it right next to us.
Right on.
In-N-Out all the time. Kyla, she's from Grants Pass, so she's not a big fan of the In-N-Out. And I'm like, you don't even know what's up.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks, Chris. Keep doing good.
I'm just doing everything that you did. You know, at least I'm trying to. You know what I mean? Went doing SLE. You know, I got a sponsor. Taking it one day at a time. Doing drug court. You know, and you know how many I called you from county. I said, I don't know, but I need to do it. I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I saw that what you're doing worked for you. So I'm just trying to do what the big bro did, you know? So just one day at a time. Yeah. That's all.
One day at a time. Jackson, did you have something to say?
Good job, Ben, dude. I love you, bro. I'm glad I was able to hear that tonight. I love you, dude.
Thanks, Jackson. Love you too, bro.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Hey, you showed me the way too.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people have had to show me how to do stuff different, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people have had to do that. Jackson being one of them.
Hey, thanks, bro. Have a good night. Love you, bro.
Love you, bro. Thanks.
I have a question for you.
Oh, got a question?
No. Why are you putting it on me? Put it back on you. This is your show right now.
Just answer the question.
I'm going to ask you a question right now. What would you say to somebody that is struggling with a loved one who is stuck deep in their addiction?
That it goes back to hope. Like, you know, that if you have a loved one that's stuck deep in their addiction, you just have to lead by example. You can't go chase them down. You can't make them go to rehab or do all those things. They got to want it on their own. And until they do, you just support them and love them from a distance. You know? And I didn't learn that on my own either. My parents taught me that. Now looking back, I see that those things they did were important. They said, we love you. You can come to our house and take showers. We will feed you, but we will not give you money, and we will not give you rides. Okay. That was important. They set their boundaries because they didn't know what to do either. So if I have a loved one who's still struggling in their addiction, I will continue to let them know how much I love them and that I'm here when they're ready.
That's a good point, because most parents that go through this, it's their first time and they have no idea what they're doing. And maybe they watched a TV show or whatever it may be, but it's a new experience. And if there's a way to enlighten parents, so when this does happen or when their son is coming back, that they have some ammo, some knowledge. Because it's hard to tell your kid to leave. We love you, but you can't be here. That's a hard one. But I'm pretty sure it was the right thing to say too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings too. Like, oh wait, no, I just forgot it. Oh, it's something about like, it doesn't always have to feel right. It just has to be right or something like that, I botched that one. Something along those lines. Like, because the decisions that we make don't always feel right, but they are right, Especially those ones that my parents had to make that were tough, The decisions my mom had to make when I was younger and getting in so much trouble, and the only thing that they knew to do was to help change my environment in hopes that I could have a new path, because the path I was on was, it wasn't good at all. It was only a matter of time before I ended up in prison or whatever, So, my parents and my mom, and those were hard decisions they had to make even when I was 14 and 15 years old, to send their son off. I can't imagine what those feelings must be like, Those are some of the things that I got to process with my mom, We got to talk about those things and those things that she was harboring, and that's the healing process. Because in recovery, the addict isn't just the person that recovers. The family needs to recover. The community needs to recover. Everybody, that's in direct contact with an addict, and most of you already know this, they're going through it just as much. Like their life is unmanageable just by having the addict around them, the unmanageable addict. So by recovering, it's a whole process for everybody, the family, loved ones, significant others, children. Everybody deserves a chance to heal as well.
So do we have any other questions or comments out there? All right, Ben. Well, thanks again for being our guest speaker this evening. And Ben and Titan, once our restaurants open back up, if you're interested in hearing about my perspective on how higher power plays into recovery, you got my email. Let me know. I'd love to sit down and chat with you guys some more about that. But we'll wrap it up. We're almost at an hour, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. I want to remind everybody that we're going to continue doing these on the second Thursday of every month. So our next monthly talk on Zoom, presumably next month, will be January 14th at 7 o'clock. And we hope to see everybody again next month. And to see a recording of this evening's presentation or any of our past Be Strong talks, just go to YouTube and search Grace Roots Be Strong, and you'll see our YouTube channel. And everybody, Merry Christmas and be safe. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month. Thanks again, Ben.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Love you all.
All right, love you, Ben.
Spread the
Love you,
hope.
Ben. Happy
Spread the
holidays,
hope.
guys.
Love you, Ben.
Love you all. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. Love you all.
How do I